Hello to my friends and foes. Today I'm starting 75 hard and
75 days ago, I started 75 hard. I was doom scrolling TikTok on a Tuesday night and saw the challenge come up on my feed. Went to the hashtag and watched a couple of videos and thought, yeah, I'll give that a go. 75 Hard is described as a transformational mental toughness challenge by its creator, Andy Frisella, who is best known as an entrepreneur, author, and public speaker. But I'd say 75 Hard is going to sit pretty high on his legacy list. The rules Andy sends you when you sign up on his website are as follows. Every day for 75 days straight, you must follow a diet of your choice. It can be anything, but designed with a physical improvement in mind. 2 45-minute workouts a day, at least 3 hours apart, and one of those workouts must be outside. No alcohol, nor cheat meals. Take a progress picture every day. Drink 1 gallon of water. Read 10 pages of a book. Audiobooks do not count. I lost 7.5 kilos, or about 16.5 pounds, and around 7% body fat percentage. In this video, I'm going over my experience with each rule, as well as the things I learned and what I'm going to take forward, and then my tips to anyone else looking to do this challenge. If you want to skip around, be my guest. The video is segmented, and there are time codes in the description.
While 75 Hard is not a fitness challenge, it does appear at first glance to be at least fitness focused. And I've never been one for fitness challenges. I don't stick to them. I just don't really care for them, to be honest. But out of all of the fitness challenges for me to have picked, I don't understand why I picked this one, because out of all of them, it's longer than the average 6 to 8 week fitness challenge. And it's also really hard. It's in the name, I guess. Because I went into this challenge on a random Tuesday night with about 8 hours notice before the first day began, I didn't actually have time to look around and pick a meal plan or a meal kit or a specific diet that I was going to adhere to for the 10.5 weeks. And in hindsight, this was the best fluke. It's important I tell you about my relationship with food before the challenge and how I've been in my life, so that you can understand how 75 Hard helped me in terms of my eating and the foods that I eat and my overall relationship with food. First of all, I binge eat. I wouldn't say in a medically concerning way, and it's definitely not an eating disorder in my case, but I do absolutely love to just go to the shops and buy a bunch of snackies, bunch of chockies, eat all of it in one sitting, and then go to bed and just think, why would we do that? My eyes are hungrier than my stomach, whether it's at a restaurant, ordering way too much food, just picking 3 different things, like a main and 2 sides, and being like, this is normal, or just serving myself way too much at meal times. My eyes are hungrier than my stomach, and I always give into it, or I always used to. Keeping in mind, both of those things are fine to do. It is fine to go to a restaurant and just order a bunch of shit because you feel like it, or it's fine to just put more on your plate one night because you're hungrier. But this was every night, and my understanding of portion sizes, healthy portion sizes for my frame, was just going out the window over time. So it was that, paired with the inability to leave anything on my plate, like it was gonna run away. I'd just sit down and just be like, challenge accepted. Fucking righto, Lucy. I chose clean eating in a calorie deficit for my diet on 75 Hard. None of the foods really changed in my house. I just focused on appropriate portion sizings and picking meals that were just less calorically dense than I needed. I've never necessarily eaten badly, and that's kind of the problem that I was in, because I was justifying that I'm I don't eat badly, I don't eat shit, I eat well. Problem is I was just eating way too much of it, and I thought I was still following the 80-20 rule, 80% eating well, 20%, snacking and eating whatever you want when you go out, things like that. But I fucking wasn't. I was lying to myself. Chomping down an entire packet of Maltesers 3 times a week. In hindsight though, a bit of a bad habit. I've used Dinnerly for the past 2 years. It's owned by Marley Spoon. It's just another one of those meal kit plans. So when I would pick recipes throughout the challenge, I would just pivot to the healthier ones, the less calorically dense options available. I also live with my lovely boyfriend James, who is, funnily enough, on the other end of the spectrum in terms of food. He wants to eat a lot more food for his fitness goals, so I didn't want to just throw him into the deep end in this challenge with me. Sometimes throughout the challenge you'd see us you know, having nachos. It's not necessarily that I would have picked that throughout this challenge. It was like, this is a healthy choice. It was more like keeping the peace in my household and not trying to like make myself the main character, you know? So when we made the nachos, like for example, his side of the tray would be like layered with stuff and mine would be a lot smaller so that it could fit in my deficit. Everything was tracked on the app Lose It. I picked that one over MyFitnessPal because MyFitnessPal just gives me traumatic flashbacks to counting calories as a 15-year-old. Fucking hell. Lose It isn't free. I think I paid $50 for an annual subscription, but I really liked the UI and I figured 75 Hard itself is free. You don't have to pay a cent to do it, unlike a lot of other fitness challenges. Big ups to Andrew Frizella for that. In terms of my calorie deficit, I just input my height and weight and a goal of losing 0.5 kilograms a week. And the app just calculated my deficit based on that, as all of the apps do. It's not really a special feature of Lose It, that's pretty standard. I'm not gonna go into the specifics of what my individual deficit is because it's likely not going to apply to absolutely anyone else watching this video unless you happen to be my exact height and exact weight at the start of this challenge. And all of the internet nutritionists are probably gonna actually, so I'd rather not. To be honest, not much changed about how I ate. Like I normally have 2 poached eggs on a piece of toast in the morning for breakfast. I've always loved that. My parents taught me how to cook poached eggs when I was a teenager and I've carried that through my life. People think it's such a flex. I'm like, it's really not. Get a pot of water, take it to boiling, put a dash of white wine vinegar in it. What's next? Oh yeah, put the eggs in.
Leave them for 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes, depending on how they're looking, how they're feeling. Have you asked them how their day was? That kind of thing. And then just drain them.
This is not a poached egg tutorial, Lucy. If you really want to nitpick it, it was on white bread. Helga's traditional white bread, if you must know. It's fucking delicious. I love a thick piece of bread. It could be multigrain, whole grain, whatever, but I grew up in a household where I wasn't allowed white bread or juice or snacks or anything in the household. Both of my parents were very healthy. So as an adult, I do like to indulge in a bit of white bread, thank you. I'd have canned soups for lunch, which I know a lot of people turn their nose up at, and I get it, but they're actually really good. They've got good servings of vegetables, they're low in calories, and they're fucking cheap. And they cook in 2.5 minutes, so it was really easy to have that around the house for lunch. I'd have salmon and avocado on Cruskits, leftovers, whatever. I just appropriately portion it because I'm someone who likes to have their biggest meal at dinner, personally. For dinners, it was really anything from like, you know, pastas, stir fries, curries, lots of chicken and rice, things like that. Roast veggies and chicken was an absolute hit. The hoes do love roast chicken and veggies, confirmed. I snacked a hell of a lot less, cut that down, was a bit more like mindful eating, like am I really hungry or am I thirsty? Though I will add I was never thirsty throughout this challenge and I think you might be able to work out why that was. So when I did snack, I'd have, you know, fruit, dried fruits like dried mango, things like that, or a white chocolate blonde bite. I was an absolute sucker for them when I wanted something sweeter. If I had picked a diet like keto, which I've done before, or, you know, fucking meal plans that have a shit ton of dry chicken breast and vegetables for like majority of the day, I would not have finished this challenge. I straight up would have failed. Like I do not hesitate in telling you that. Food is how I plan my day. It has always been. I get excited for breakfast, lunch and dinner. I love cooking. I just can't imagine making something that I wasn't excited to eat. Like if I had done a set diet, I definitely would have lost my weight, like no question. But I didn't go into this to lose weight. I knew it was gonna be an incredible byproduct. Yeah, I just fucking love food too much, to be honest. So before this challenge, I was actually in a really good habit with working out. I was going to the gym every day, if not 6 out of the 7 days a week. I like working out. I like it for my mental health. I have anxiety. To be honest, I enjoy working out. Both of my parents are active. It's probably in the blood. I've always enjoyed being active. So it wasn't the hardest part of the challenge for me personally. I know that would be a hurdle for others to overcome, but I like getting a sweat on, you know? My hair doesn't, neither does my fucking hairdresser, but enough of that. The indoor workouts were an absolute breeze. I go to Virgin Active and I love it there. It's ridiculously expensive, but to be honest, I see it as a church. So of the churches, it'd be like Scientology based on how much it costs to go there. Yeah, no, indoor workouts were a breeze. I just do a lot of classes. I initially started, I'd do Pilates and yoga and things like that. A couple of weeks in, I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I may as well just go hard out because I'm likely never gonna do this again. So I ended up just doing grid as much as I possibly could. It only occurred to me recently that grid training is not a commonly used term and that I may have to explain it, so here I am. Grid training is what Virgin Active call their high intensity interval workout classes. It's called grid training because it's painted in a grid. And everyone has their own square, and you basically just cycle between cardio, weight training, and it goes through 3 different types throughout the week. So one day will be sprint, one day will be aerobic, and one day will be strength. I didn't do as many strength classes. I typically only went on the days where it was aerobic or sprint. There's plenty of benefits in terms of doing strength training because it creates leaner muscle, and that'll create an increase in your caloric burn at rest, which is fantastic. The only reason I didn't do most of the strength classes throughout the challenge is because whenever I do them, I get really sore. I also get DOMS, which is delayed onset muscle soreness, and it would have affected my motivation and how my body just generally felt throughout the challenge. So I avoided them, not because strength workouts aren't fantastic for you, just because I'm a pussy ass little bitch and I didn't want to be sore when I woke up. Thank you. The outdoor workouts. This was easily the hardest part of the challenge for me personally, and it had absolutely nothing to do with the physical aspect of working out and everything to do with the fact that sometimes I just don't want to go out in the pouring fucking rain when it's pitch black dark at 7 p.m. because I started this at the end of winter. Idiot. Some days it really did take everything for me to get up and do that outdoor workout, and I remember thinking that had this had been a challenge where it was just 2 45-minute workouts a day and one of them was indoor, it would have been a fucking breeze. But as I went on, I realized that the outdoor workout, at least in my interpretation, is the mental health workout, because that's the one that takes the most fucking mental strength. It's not always sunny in Philadelphia, in Sydney either. Some of those days when it is pouring with rain and the last thing you want to do is go for a walk or, you know, go for a run, whatever it is, some days they would clear my head and other days I would just be really grateful to have a hot shower because I was walking through the door soaking wet. But eventually I did become one with the elements. In terms of what I did outside, I'd listen to a podcast and walk my dog or go on a speedy solo walk. Sometimes I'd do my interval running. I played some tennis with James, or we'd go to the driving range. I tried to switch it up as much as I could in the beginning to kind of give a novelty to it and have something to look forward to throughout the week. But toward the end of the challenge, I definitely just became like a robot and I would just go for a walk or a run. But yeah, it became pretty meditative, I'll give it that. The running. The running is the thing that I am most proud of. Funnily enough, I did not see this coming. I used the app Run to 5K, otherwise known as Couch to 5K, Couch to 10K, 5K Runner, etc. I don't know how it has that many names, but it's excelente. I honestly couldn't tell you if it's free. I'll let you know up here. I think I may have paid for it, but again, I've had it since I was 16. I am 25 now. It has been a long time. So obviously it's interval running. So the app will start you from day 1, week 1. You are doing, I think it's like, I'll have it up here, but I think it's like 1 minute on, as in running, 1 minute running, and then 1.5 minutes walking kind of thing. And as you go through the program, obviously those intervals get smaller. So you're running for a longer time and walking for less of a time. If you have any experience running, I think you will get through it a breeze, but I didn't. Like, I just never was a runner. I am short distance to the end. I won all those fucking ribbons at my primary school running carnival, except that one time in year 6 when I tripped 1/2 meter from the finish line. We won't talk about that any further. Don't bring it up. Okay? But yeah, my long distance running was absolute shithouse. So the fact that I can now run 35 minutes straight when I would make some of the great excuses as an able-bodied young woman in my 20s that I shouldn't have to run for the rest of a minute is incredible. Running outside was a challenge for me though. I just run out of breath so much faster. It's like the wind and the air just gets into my lungs and I'm just having a horrible time. Like physically I could keep going. It's not that my stamina is low. It's just that I think I have undiagnosed asthma kind of thing.
Hi, it's me editing this. When I changed the memory card, I accidentally zoomed the camera in, so it's just a bit more intimate from here on out. Hope you enjoy.
So the majority of the program was done indoors on a treadmill at the gym. I just watched YouTube videos or a podcast or something like that. And my speed was 8.5 kilometers for the majority of the interval. That may seem quite slow, but for me, my 5'4" ass, that is a decent jog pace. Not quite long running strides, but a decent jog, we'll call that, yeah. Also, the program's kind of maxed out at like 35 minutes max, so I would also do some sprint intervals at the end just to make it up to the 45-minute mark. The workouts were easily the most challenging but the most rewarding part of this challenge for me, and I don't think I would have had a shot in hell had I been drinking throughout. This one sucked at times. I'll cover alcohol first. I used to love drinking. I would drink weekly, casually, most nights of the week. I'd have like wine, beer, love a pure blonde. And then I would love to go ham when I was out with friends or at a party or whatever. But I kind of slowed down at the beginning of this year because my anxiety just got so fucking bad, and it just got to the point where I was like, this is not worth it. So before starting this challenge, I had kind of slowed down to like once a fortnight. Airplane, it wasn't the biggest shock to my system to stop drinking. I didn't really go out at all during the challenge. Like in terms of FOMO, like with drinking, I just didn't really go out. I treated this challenge selfishly as like these 75 days that were just all about me. Like not for the people around me. I didn't really talk about it that much except with my close friends. But for the most part, I just woke up every day and I was like, this is about me. I'm doing the things that I want to do today that are going to make me feel the best so I can get through this challenge. So I was pretty antisocial, I won't lie, but yeah, it helped. And I didn't really get FOMO that much, to be honest. Coke Zero was an absolute saving grace for me in that sense, because no matter where I went, if I was going to a party or out or to dinner or whatever, there was always a Coke Zero. Everyone serves Coke Zero. You know, just to clarify that, I know that sugar-free soft drinks have their own demons and they wreck your gut. I also know it's probably better to just have regular soft drinks and just have them in moderation, but for this challenge, I enjoyed an ice-cold Coke Zero as a beveragino. The alcohol was also a really funny part to me because when I was telling people about the challenge when they asked, that's the part they would tap out at. Like I'd get to, you know, yeah, and you can't drink alcohol, and they'd be like, oh no, oh God, yeah, see, I couldn't do that. Oh God, no, I'm out. I just look at them and think like, did you not hear the part where I said I have to do 2 45-minute workouts a day and one of them is outside? But I suppose alcohol is such a cultural crutch, especially here in Australia, that I think we feel a lot more dependent on it than we actually are. Maybe that's just me, but there you go. I wish I could tell you I feel like miles better not drinking alcohol, but I still get anxiety regardless. And like, I suppose I just enjoyed not feeling like shit for a full 24 hours hungover throughout this challenge and like got to make the most out of every day, which was really nice. And there's really not much to say about no cheat. Sometimes I get cravings, but I never really got to a point where I was like caving to the cravings kind of thing. I craved Nutella crepes and Maltesers and I think like a burger, but every time I got the cravings, I realized it was probably because I wasn't eating the right food or enough of the right food. So I would usually just work on my gallon of water or have like an apple or something, and the cravings would just subside within a little bit. It wasn't the biggest deal. I thought the cravings were going to be a lot worse, but they were fine. Personally, at least. The fucking gallon of water. It's 3.78 liters for us metric sluts. So 3.78 is an annoying number to divide up. I have a 750 milliliter water bottle. I worked out that 6 of these is 4.5 liters. So I said to myself, okay, do 5 and have at least half of the last bottle and you're Gucci. Except I forgot about that. About a week into the challenge, I forgot that it wasn't compulsory to drink the last bottle. And so I just thought that I was meant to drink 6 a day. So I was drinking more than a gallon for the challenge, and do with that what you will based on what I'm about to tell you next. You don't have to drink as much as I did. I normally drink more than 2 liters a day just because as a voice actor, like I lose my voice really quickly and talking a lot. So I like to have my vocal cords lubricated. So I wasn't in the worst spot for the challenge, but at the same time, it was hard. Like, it was just exhausting drinking that much water. Like, there were only so many hours in the day, and if you forgot at any point, you'd be like, fuck. The best tip I can give is to smash out at least 2.25 liters by midday. I'm not sure if that makes any sense. It does to me because it's 3. If you have a 750 milliliter water bottle and you're gonna do this challenge, smash out 3 before midday and the rest of the day is an absolute breeze. That is my best tip I can give with the water. This one is so funny. There are so many people that says it has to be 10 pages of a non-fiction entrepreneurial book, but it's not. Maybe he's said it once before, but the rules he has on his website and the email he sends you when you sign up is that it's literally just 10 pages of a book. So I drew a line at the entrepreneurial non-fiction and I just read fiction. There was no way I was gonna be reading entrepreneurial non-fiction. It's just not for me, and I do not give a flying fuck about the rise and grind mindset personally. This was also one of the funniest parts of the challenge to me because I thought this was gonna be the easiest thing in the world. I love reading. I just don't do it as much as an adult, but it turns out this part is fucking difficult because you'd get through an entire day as 75 hard and all that it entails, and you'd get into bed and I would literally groan at the thought of reading 10 pages. I'd be sitting there reading and I'd just be like counting the pages. Never been that person in my life. I usually just smash a book out in a day or two and I'm like, damn, I read that way too quickly. I was like, damn, 3 pages to go and then I can go to sleep. It was a chore. But it was great, and here are the books that I read. I read Cultish by Amanda Montell. It's a great look into what it means to call something a cult and what a cult is, and it goes into everything from the famous Jonestown, drinking the Kool-Aid, all the way through to like Soul Cycle and things like that. It was good. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Mean Baby by Selma Blair. It was an autobiography by the actress Selma Blair and her life and her subsequent diagnosis of MS when she was in her 40s. Fucking hell, she has lived a life. She has. I would recommend that book if you are interested, I guess. I'm not sure where I was going with that. And this is Your Mind on Plants by Michael Pollan. Cannot believe his name is that. I'm still reading this one, but it's a fantastic analysis on 3 big drugs in the human existence: opium, caffeine, and mescaline. Couldn't tell you what mescaline is yet, but I could tell you loads about opium and caffeine. I haven't finished it yet, obviously, but I would definitely recommend. So far, it's very enjoyable. And just interesting. Just fucking interesting. I obviously documented every single day on my TikTok, and most, if not all days, had some form of shot of my body. So while I didn't take a specific photo of myself every day, I did document it every day, so I don't feel like I failed that. But I guess if that considers a fail, I guess I failed. What I learnt and what I'm continuing moving forward. 75 hard will absolutely change your life. I thought it was pretty wanky when I first heard someone say that, but turns out it's true. And here are some of the things I learnt. The human body is incredible. I was in shock at how every single day, day after day, I would get up and my body would just be like, okay, we're doing this again. It taught me that everything in the past that I've ever made an excuse for was all mental, even if I put a physical label on it. And 75 Hard taught me that my excuses are full of shit. My relationship with food has completely changed for the better. I've always eaten well, but not from a mental standpoint. And now I can confidently say I am not afraid of calories anymore, because I know all I have to do is feed myself well and move my body and everything's gonna be okay. My body insecurities aren't nearly as bad as they were. I feel stronger and fitter than I ever have before, obviously, and that definitely contributes to it. Like visually, when I look in the mirror, I'm like, wow, I look fit. But I also just don't care in general so much anymore how I look. Throughout the challenge, I didn't really wear makeup at all. I actually preferred myself without makeup. Mornings are fantastic. I've never really been an early riser, but throughout this challenge, I've been getting up early and I'm still, you know, getting up and doing my things and actually enjoying myself. It's quite psychotic. What I'm taking forward, this has been the biggest question I've been asked. They say it takes 28 days to form a habit, so you can't do things for 75 days straight every single day and not at least carry some things forward. There are some things I'll be leaving behind though. Tell you that much for free. My diet won't change, as I said, because I didn't pick a strict diet. I don't have to adapt my eating at all. I know how to eat the foods that I normally eat in a way that suits me and what I need best now. I'll just go back to the 80-20 rule. So 80% eating well, 20% eating whatever the fuck I want. Working out every day is absolutely something I'm going to be continuing, not as a rule, just because it makes me happy. It helps my mental health, and I feel like the 45 minutes that I spend at the gym are the only 45 minutes of the day that I don't feel anxiety. So I'm going to ride with that, and I'm going to keep doing that. The outdoor workout, however, can fuck right off. I'll obviously still take my dog for a walk. I don't hate her. She deserves a little bit of fun every now and then. But when it's torrentially raining, I might pass. Respectfully. The gallon of water is a hysterical concept, and I will not be continuing that. The idea of me at 5'4" needing a gallon of water, it's not medically concerning, it's just not necessary. So I'll go back to my humble 2.5 if you don't mind. And I'm going to try and keep reading. To be honest, the hard part is finding a good book, but when I find one, I'll read it. If you're looking to start 75 hard, I do have some tips. Take them or leave them. Pick a time to start where you know you don't have an event in the first 3 weeks where you want to be drinking a lot or eating a lot or whatever. So like a wedding, a birthday, whatever it is. You will wane. Like, there are going to be times where you don't want to do it anymore. So I would suggest picking a time where if you do have events, they fall at like the 7-week mark onwards, 6 or 7 week mark onwards, because you'll be so used to it and your body will be so used to it and you'll be in the groove that like you won't mind to not drink because you are out of the habit of doing so, kind of thing. Makes sense? Makes sense. Also, do it when the sun is up for most of the day. For some reason I picked to do mine at the end of winter and the sun was setting at like 4:45 and it was miserable. You don't want the outdoor workout to be torrentially raining and pitch black dark. So, you know, maybe just do it in summer. Washing. You'll be doing multiple loads of washing per week. I personally do my sports washing on a Wednesday, so like just gym stuff, the gym outfit, socks, underwear, all that all goes on a Wednesday, and then I just do regular washing on a Saturday, and I personally got by like that. Also, make sure you have enough socks. I had to go and buy more socks in the first week. Unless you're doing like yoga or like low intensity, like no sweat workouts, I wouldn't be re-wearing personally. At least I wouldn't re-wear my sports gear. Where possible, get your workouts done in the first half of the day. So I always felt a lot better when I had smashed out the workouts, which are arguably the hardest thing in terms of like time management to place throughout your day. And they are also the only things in the challenge that like really depend on your motivation for your fitness and stuff like that. And I find my motivation wanes toward the end of the day. So for example, if you work from home, like I do, very lucky, and also made this challenge a hell of a lot easier. Go to the gym before work, do some work, and then at lunchtime, go and take the dog for a walk or go for your own walk outside. And then that way by like 2 p.m, you are done. Like all you have to do is the reading, continue to eat well, continue to work on your gallon of water. Like, it makes it so much easier when the majority of the hard part is out of the way before midday. And I have seen some other people on TikTok say that, and I blatantly ignored it until I learnt that lesson myself. So take that advice. Don't snooze your alarm. You will work out pretty quickly that there are only so many hours in a day for you to get it done. And if you miss that first workout, like let's say the alarm is set for a workout purpose, if you shuffle that workout, it has to go somewhere else in the day. Like you can't just not do it. You may as well get up and get it over and done with. I promise you, within 30 minutes of being up, you will feel fine. Have a coffee, have some pre-workout, do whatever you need to do. Don't snooze the alarm, just get up and do it. I already said before, but get half the water done by midday. You will make the rest of the day an absolute breeze. Don't pick an obscure diet. Do what you want. And if you want to pick keto or if you want to pick paleo, do that. Have fun, have a ball. But if you want to take these lessons that you learn and take the progress that you've made into your life afterward, it will be a lot easier if you just pick clean eating. I would say don't pick an obscure diet, just because it makes it a lot easier to re-assimilate once you're done and like take your progress excuse you. Do what you want. If you want to do paleo, have a ball. Send me a postcard. Oh God, say goodbye to having nice hair for 75 days. There is no amount of dry shampoo that will save you. I was doing a lot of sweaty workouts and the sweat just sits there. I didn't want to wash my hair too much because it's bad for your hair. I have blonde hair and it dries out a lot faster anyway. So I just fell in love with the slicked back ponytail. I don't know what I'm at, and I would recommend it. Now I'm gonna see if I can find any last minute questiones from the TikTok.
It is day
Oops,
74.
shut up, me. How did you find managing work and fitting in both workouts in a day? The only day I'm in the office is a Wednesday because I work from home hybrid. So if you do not work from home, I could only suggest doing it before work and then doing it after work, or going up for a walk on your lunch break, I guess. But honestly, the challenge is made a lot easier if you work from home. Question related to feeling sweaty for 75 days. What was your showering, washing, workout clothes routine? Yeah, so showering, I did cover washing clothes. I did my washing twice a week, and I did invest in a lot more activewear throughout the challenge. I have probably 3 times as much activewear as when I started. I showered twice a day at least. As standard, I think you'll be showering at least twice a day. If you're doing sweaty workouts, I think as a human being, you should be showering at least twice a day anyway. At least once. Please shower. Some people just comment things on TikTok, and just so you know, you don't have to do that. You can just shut up. And that's about it. But I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or if there's anything I've missed, feel free to drop a comment and I'll reply to you there, or send me a message on Instagram or whatever. I obviously vlogged every single day of 75 hard on my 75 hard TikTok. So if you feel like watching all of them, I think they're close to a minute each. So it's just over an hour and 15 minutes worth of content for you to get through. There are some shit days, but we did it.
Goodbye, friends and foes.